I'm on. There we go. Peace, YouTube. Peace to the east, the west, the north, and the south. This is Fleurbrun coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. I actually have a clear live. I'm excited about that. So check on in. That's just my laundry. So I'll wait until a few check in because I don't think you guys may get the notification. That's the only issue. So check on in. So I hope everyone's well. I don't see your comments. Oh, now I see it. There's Colorado. I do see your comments now. It took me a minute. Okay. Hey, hey. So you hear my little ones walking. I'll wait until a few people check in. Let me know that you can hear me. If you can hear me, fine for the 13. I have some really nice, beautiful music in the background and little people on the side of me eating a late, well, it's a late, to me it's a little late to eat their later dinner. Ah, you guys can hear me. So check on it, okay? So I'm gonna go outside in a minute. I just want everyone to check in. You got the notification, that's rare. Please put a like on the video as we get into the conversation. Because as the conversation gets a little further in deep, you have me for a while. My phone is 100% because I was down by the dock and I was able to, zhuzh it up. So you're eating now? Peace, everyone. So check on it. And we're gonna get into conversation about O negatives versus reptilians. Yeah. I'm sorry about Saturday's video. I was out and I was out of state. So it's kind of like, you want the volume up? Normally you want my volume down. Okay, I got it up. Do you guys hear me okay? Now, is the volume A-okay? Okay. Can you guys hear me okay? Let me see if I can make this a little, hold on. Hold on, let me see my, okay. Okay. I put it up some. Do you hear me better right now? I'm gonna go outside. I have some classical music playing to soothe my savage cubs. They're not savages. Keeps them calm when I play. Ah, Claire de Lune. Maybe yes, sir. Okay, perfect. Okay, so maybe I should go outside. Put a like on the video, and I think I'll go outside so you guys can hear me a little better, okay? So give me a minute. So that way you can hear me a little better, okay? So let me just go outside for you guys. You guys okay? Yeah. I'm gonna go outside. All right. Alrighty. Okay. You guys can hear me okay? Okay, as long as you've put it outside. All right. I'm outside, so it should sound a little better. So peace to east, west, and north, south. This is Fleurbrun coming to you today. New topic of discussion. Let me sit down. Get comfortable. Okay. Alrighty. I'm comfortable. Everyone okay? There we go. Now you can hear me. The little people will be happy because they can get bucket wild in the house. All right. So I wanted to get into the conversation today about Blissful Monday. I don't even know what day of the week is. So Blissful Monday. Oh, thank you. It's a little cottage. It's really nice. Want to see? There's a downstairs. You hear the birds? The birds. I'm over by the waterways. All right. Yeah, I finally dipped out. I bounced. As soon as they gave us a chance to get out, I bounced. Anyway, so we're going to talk about negative roosts versus reptilians. And most of you say, well, Florence, how could you say that? You know, how do you know that the negative roost has any issues, or would there be one? Because many people have talked about the negative roost being connected to some of the reptilian groups, but I personally, I'm I personally had to talk about how that isn't the case to my knowledge, and I've come upon some information I thought was relative, and I think it's important. I think there's a lot of people who demonize reptilians, and as time has gone on, and remember, one of my first videos, one of my first notable videos, was talking about the breaking the code, the reptilian code, and how you were able to perceive them and see them without the cloaking, without them shape-shifting. So I think a lot of times we generally have made this general consensus about reptilians based on the narrative that has been overly saturated with negative connotations. David Icke has talked about the reptilians being negative. And let me state this. I'm not talking about, because a lot of people get offended. A lot of people say, well, Fleurbrun is pro-reptilian. It isn't that. I'm pro-righteous, and I'm pro balanced perceptions, because I want to always bring it to a more rational conversation and denote that there is a plethora of reptilians, and there are those who are nefarious. There are nefarious reptilians, negative ones, and those who are, some kind of mute. They don't have any yay or say in our development or non-development. And then there are those who are just basically kind of pro-human, or many of those who are mixed are hybrids of those particular subterranean reptilians, nega reptilians, other extraterrestrial reptilians. They aren't negative. So, draconians give all of the reptilians a bad name. And I want to kind of have a rational conversation about that, so we get a better consensus on reptilians as a whole, as opposed to putting them in one lump sum and giving them a criteria of the narrative that's been projected for now, probably a decade, several decades. Okay, so let's talk about the reptilians, the reptiles. Yeah, and actually behind me, and I wanted to denote this. Oh, yeah, I want you. Right behind me, see, in that beautiful lake, because I'm at a lake house, at the beautiful lake, right behind me, there are a plethora of really passive alligators. So you see the water behind me? The waterways behind me. There are beautiful, passive, not crocodilians, alligators. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, I go swimming in this waterway. I take the kayaks out in this waterway with my little ones, and the reptiles that are in this waterway, snakes and alligators, are passive. And when I say passive, it means they're non-aggressive and they eat fish. Okay, so behind here, a lot of people will demonize, when you live places where you have creatures that are native to the area, to demonize them is state and give them a lump sum of negativity based on you colonizing their areas is really ignorant. Okay, when you move to their terrain and then you demonize them and you try to kill them off and then you make sure you put fear in everyone, that is a form of how colonization has ruined this planet. Okay, people have done it for too long, and I just want to be a rational, I just want to have a rational discussion about it. Okay, so, all right, so we're going to talk about the negative roost, how it interfaces with with how it is, how versus reptilians. Let me make sure. Okay, so three-finger Draco can't form a proper fist to pick up weapons. Oh, actually, you're correct. I thought of it, absolutely. So let's start with the negative roost. Big up to all my negative roosts in the house. You masterful analytical beings, you wonderful scientists, you masters of music and celestial connections. I really appreciate you. This is meant to be a healthy conversation. And one of the things you will realize that there won't be any demonization of any roost, because we know that we've been everything. We know that we will be everything. So demonizing one is just basically talking about your mama, or talking about your sister, or talking about yourself. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure I keep it 1,000. We on this platform are very respectful to all species, because we realize that first of all, we're living on this beautiful planet together. And we also realize that because of that, we should be cohesive and understanding, overstanding, and understanding of the beings or even ourselves. Okay. So, what has been a promotion for quite a few years? I would say I got to be careful. 924. I think it's been only a promotion for the last 20 years. Some of my more seasoned sea stars and sun stars can probably correct me on this. I want to be really on point with when I talk about this, because I want to make sure, I'm giving a roundabout of the time frame. I know generally, but I call myself seasoned, but I'm not as seasoned as some of our elders. So they can kind of chime in if you have the exact around date that we've heard of. Hey, Elijah, how you doing, my love? How's mama? Thank you, baby. Thank you. The roundabout date that we started getting into negative conversation about the reptiles, okay? Now, we have to realize that there has been a propaganda agenda to demonize them ever since, pretty much, I would say, ever since David Icke came on the scene. And I pretty much was disgusted that Agent Icke, I said Agent Icke. Woo! That was a Freudian slip. Did you hear that Freudian slip? I had a Freudian slip, y'all. I had a Freudian slip. Agent Icke, David Icke, let me behave myself, no shade. David Icke has been the forefront. Hey, Ann Golden, I'm unsure. I'll check my emails. I have a new email because they hijacked my email. Whatever. Yeah. He has been the #1 progenitor of negativity regarding reptilian, and he utilized Credo Mutua as a form of assistance in trying to demonize a specific group. And that's why I say we got to be careful with the narratives that are projected out there, because it's purposefully meant to make you see and perceive others as, something dark or nefarious. Okay. So that being said, about the last 20 years, we've heard of this narrative that reptilians are eating children, they eat people, they're negative, they're primal, they are archaic, they're savages, they do harmful things, they're ruling on the top tier of society. And I just want to say this, I won't say that it isn't the case that there aren't quite a few reptilians at the top tiers, but I've already blown the cover that the majority of those on the top aren't just reptilians, they are basically insectilians. And if you notice, you won't ever hear any negative connotations about insectilians. Actually, you rarely hear anybody talking about insectilians. If you ever hear it, it's based on, like, I think David Greer. I think David Greer talks about the mantis. The mantis are only ones that are ever spoken about. They don't even talk about the insectilians that are connected, some of the more nefarious reptilians that are diabolical, that are, utilize humanity as like test tube, experiments, and have done things, a lot of your laboratories are ran by insectilians. And you have to realize some of the grays aren't really grays, they're insectilians. They're another form of insectoids. Okay, insectoids are like, they can look like, kind of like the Zetas. I don't want to throw the Zetas under the bus, but the Zetas are a type of insectilian. And if you want to say, if you want us to get me to give you more clarity to say that is the truth, then why do we have kingdoms and queendoms? Why do we have queens? Why do we have colonies, right? Why are they spying? Why do we bug things? Okay, a great movie to watch is Star Trooper, what is it? I think it's Star Troopers or Star something Troopers. Do you remember that movie? Oh gosh, I think it was Star something Troopers. Starship Troopers. Thank you, my love, Shadow. Thank you, Shadow. Starship Troopers, which goes into the insectilians taking over planets and dominating them and then battling against them, and how many different forms of insectilians down to. And I've always denoted, family, the reason why most people can be incepted is because they are more inceptible by bugging them or getting incepted by bugs or parasites. Parasites, the little nanoparasites, that's a form of insectoids. Okay, those things can take over a whole body. As small as Starship Troopers. Thank you, my love. Thank you, Corona. Starship Troopers is a great movie if you want to see something. But I want to get my water. Hold on, family. Can you hold on? I want to leave this. Hold on. Baby, can you? Okay. I'm sorry. Is it good? You okay? What's that? Thank you, babe. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Um, so you have Starship Troopers. Also, if you remember Jeepers Creepers, I don't think many of you remember. Is it buffering? Can you guys see me? Put a 13 that you can hear me. I just went inside to get water. Um, if David Icke wasn't saying the truth, he wouldn't be deleted. David Icke was just deleted. Do you know how many years David Icke has been on? David Icke was only deleted because of who he had on his platform. It had zero to do with him. It had to do with who was on his show. And remember, a lot of people are trying to come back. Okay, let me, because I see we have some David Icke fans here. Okay, so this is shade. Okay, David Icke has been on for over 15 years, speaking on reptilians, non-phased, non-interrupted, hasn't said anything. It's interesting that all of a sudden that now he decides to come a little more clean and say something that's more relative and relevant and a little more honest, and now he gets shut down. But if you think about it, for all these years he's been allowed to speak on matters of reptilians. There hasn't been a time anything was shut down. There wasn't a time he wasn't invited to a vendor. He has several different events with thousands of people who come and show up, and there hasn't ever been inception. The only time there's inception is now. And if you notice, a lot of your so-called celebrities, a lot of your politicians are trying to jump ship and trying to do other things so they have some reprieve. They weren't trying to be honest before. They're only doing it now because it's the end of the cycle, and there's a lot of consequences for being a nasty agent. Okay, so before it was all good in the hood, but now, yeah, one platform, it gets shut down because of the person he has on, but now he's starting to come clean. Okay, so David Icke is what he is. He is an agent in my mind. It's my opinion. He's always been an agent. And just because you see people do a turnaround now when it's more beneficial for them to be honest, now you see them get shut down. It doesn't make him more legitimate. It makes him more of a punk because he should have stayed on the side of the ship that he was on initially. Okay? Can't stop, won't stop. I hate it when people say on one side and then they only want to dip out when they see that it isn't in their favor anymore. It was in his favor to talk nasty about reptilians, and how many reptilians have been killed and murdered under his watch and under his demonizing them. How many Willy Wonka systems have gone after all these reptilians, sub-Saharan, subterranean reptilians under his propaganding hate and a fear. Okay, so I'm just saying, let me go back. So I'm just, okay, so I kind of went on that tangent. Okay. So hold on one second. One. Okay. One. Clean up. One. Okay. My little ones want goodies. You can have one, boo-boo. No more than that. One. Okay. Okay, so anyway. Now I might go inside. Okay, so okay. I know I went on a tangent. I saw that and it did trigger me. Let me state this: Fleurbrun isn't a light. I'm not a light worker. I'm not a love and lighter. Yes, you can. Why don't you have one now and one later, boo boo? Why don't you have one? Okay, that'll be good. Yeah, I'm not a love and lighter. I'm not one that is. I don't meditate all day and talk to God in every way, okay? I'm a regular contactee, a regular person. So if you're coming here to hear people just be perfect, edit and give you a script, I'm probably not the channel for you. I keep it real and I keep it 1,000, okay? So anyway, let's go into the conversation. So when we talk about the negative roots and how it interrelates and how we have a type of feud going on, a propaganda feud going on that is unbeknown to most people in the regular humanity, and those of us in the extraterrestrial or the UFO community kind of know about it, because we have the know that there are beefs with even the community themselves in the UFO community, of those who are who are seeded by particular groups of extraterrestrials or Willy Wonka systems, and you see it playing out on the backlay. So I thought I'd have a conversation regarding that. Okay, so the negative ruse is always known to be what I like to say, and I love, let me give a shout out to Max Spears. Big up to Max Spears, who spoke about this so masterfully. Max Spears. So the negative ruse is what he denoted as off-world blood. These are beings who were seeded here more recently as extraterrestrials from certain star systems. Okay. Now, someone said, not, I want to say this as well, not all negative ruse are galactics. And then you say, well, Fleurbrun, how could you say that? You just said in one breath that they're off-world blood. Okay. If some of you are newer to my channel, let me denote this. Fleurbrun, in a previous life, in my younger days, I worked in research, genetic research, heredity. Okay, I was able to do research. My specialty was dementia, Parkinson, Alzheimer's, but I did do other forms of genetic research, kind of like pro bono stuff and stuff dealing with ETs that I can literally talk about now because I'd probably be arrested years ago. But past that statute of limitation, because Fleurbrun's wild like that. So what I wanted to denote is also with negative ruse. And I'm talking about the O's first. Let me talk about the OGs first, and then I'll kind of get into the other subsidiaries that are kind of below that hub, like the A, B's, B's, A's. Okay? The O's negative doesn't mean that they're off-world blood. If you clone a person, they will always come out negative ruse. Let me state this again, and this is fact. I would challenge anyone other than researchers, because any facilitators, anyone who works in research knows this. Okay, the cloning programs know this. If I clone something that's a positive, I will always come out as a result a negative. So when we have to be careful, because when you're calling your presidents and your prime ministers clones and they're negative ruse, that's why they're negative ruse. Because many of them were cloned, and when you clone anything, it will come out negative ruse. Okay, so there are beings here that are seeded literally by extraterrestrials. When I say seeded, hybrid, or obviously the offspring of those who came last, the last colonizing group. But there are those who have been cloned, and also those who we like to call I like to call them muters, which don't have a blood type, but they are androids or syntheticas, or android syntheticas, or biobots. Okay, they're just muters. Their blood type will, if I had to test it, and I don't even know that many have ever done research on it, and I can't, this is something that would be hard to do, because I would have to be someone working, a phlebotomist, probably somebody who sees a lot of blood a lot, and would be able to see this, to be able to give you more information on this. But just saying that, I know that they're muters, meaning that a synthetica, a biobot, or a android will always come up like a muted number, or a muted blood type. Okay, something that's kind of like a nil, probably like a nil, like a negative. Ooh, hold on, family. I am getting bit up. Hold on. It's dust time, so let me. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to stay clear of my friends. At dusk, there's tons of mosquitoes, and it's beautiful, but I want to stay outside because it's so pretty. Okay, I'm going to stay outside for a little bit. I didn't bring my citronella, which I normally do, and they'll only bite me as long as I. Well, you know what? Oh, yeah, they're starting already. Let me go inside. I don't think I have enough of the antibodies to fight them off. Hold on. Let me go inside. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't want to stay inside because I was gonna get bit up. It's not pleasant. Okay. So, but thank you, Carlos. I feel delicious sometimes. Okay. So anyway, so we have the, oh, hold on. Yeah, that kind of ate me up a little bit. Let me just think, let me just get back into the mind thought. It just took me a minute. Yeah, because and I think I brought them in with me. It was underneath my skirt. Anyway, woo. Okay, so we have the negative roost, and I just wanted to kind of get into it because this conversation is probably about, oh, you see him? He was biting me on my head. The struggle is real. Whenever you live by a lake, this is one thing, I lived by a lake for so long, they're voracious, and it's kind of like you get adjusted to it, but I haven't been in this area for a long time. They don't remember me. Okay. Okay. So anyway, okay, negative roost. So I think this is one of the number one battles that happens a lot in the ET community, because there's a denotion of some sort of like superiority that goes on amongst people who say that they're negative roost. And I wanted to kind of bring some rationality to it, that there isn't any sort of superiority, especially the fact that, not all negative roosts are the same. And a lot of negative roosts aren't what you think they are. You know what I mean? There are a lot of cloned beings here who are negative roosts. But the ones who literally are natural celestials, they have negative roosts as well. Okay? All right. So what's going on in the back leg, and how is it interrelated with the with the insectilians? As soon as I start talking about insectilians, the mosquitoes start to come for me. It's still on my left. They're all over. There's nothing I could do about it. I'm just going to kind of tolerate it until they kind of go away. I'm in the house now, so hopefully. I probably brought them in with me. I brought the party in the house. I want to stay on topic. It's like, you see it? Is there a mosquito right there? It might be a spider. You see it? I know you guys are seeing it. I'm like, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. Okay. Sometimes I have spiders in my hair too. Anyway, okay. So lately there's been a lot of debate and a lot of underlay, because there's been a huge war going on between the negative roost and a lot of the reptilian, a lot of the positive reptilian groups. I have to denote positive from negative, because the nefarious reptilian groups are like your draconians, or the more hostile dracos, or more hostile reptiles that are more your interdimensional reptilians. Interdimensional reptilians usually don't get in beefs, but because they usually infect humanoids of low vibration, they can have a stake in one's benefit or one's betterment or one's depreciation. So if we talk about reptilians that would be negative, you're talking about more of the interim, the ones who are in 4D feeding, more vampiric, or the draconians, because the draconians tend to be a little more hostile. Okay, so those would be more of your groups that would be considered negative. But I'm talking about the O negatives, the negative roosts that are nefarious, versus the positive, the more benevolent reptilians, such as the serpent nega, such as the subterranean reptiles. There's another one that is connected. There's another group that's actually connected to the mers. Okay, that's why mermaids and the nega have a kind of kin with one another. Because even when you talk and you hear the stories of Jamija or Mami Wata, they look very similar, and it almost looks like maybe there was some sort of genetic evolvement from either something being more amphibious and then coming into the land and becoming more like a water snake, and then one coming into, you know, on land and being more of a serpent, that a bipedal serpent on the, you know, on the land. Okay, could be because the relationship between Nega and the Mer, or the marine family, is very, very close. And I don't know this for a fact, but I personally think that it's because there's some sort of connection between the two. I think there is a connection between the two, maybe genetically more so, that I can actually vet out. Okay, so so the negative Rus is battling with the positive reptiles. There is a war going on for supreme power and balance being restored to the planet. And what you're starting to see is, remember, all of your presidents were negative Rus. And those are the same people you talked about being agents and coming for you and doing nefarious things. So when I talk about negative Rus, I'm not speaking of all negative. I'm talking about the specific bloodline lineage of those who are dark, who happen to be negative Rus. Because remember, negative Rus had home court advantage. And if you know that they had home court advantage, you do realize that all of those who had previous home, and notice I say previous, because there's a new head of household, there's a new home court advantage, and it isn't negative Rus, it is positive Rus. O positives have home court advantage, and matriarchy holds home court advantage, okay? If you don't believe me, you could just watch how, like I told you 5 years ago, you didn't believe this was the case. And now as you're starting to see things, unfold, you're like, wow, Fleurbrun, you were absolutely correct. I won't ever tell you anything that I don't know for a fact. And if I don't know for a fact, I'll always say to you, then, I'll give you that kind of like, I haven't vetted it out. If I vetted something out, I'll always tell you. Okay. So there's a battle between the nefarious negative Ruses and the positive coming in home court advantage reptiles. And it's starting to show up with them trying to incept and trying to impede on this exchange, on this transference of power. Okay. It is a new cycle. That is why we are going through the quarantine. And part of the quarantine is a change of scenery. Okay. And I've always talked about this, and I like to always put in a very understandable way that we're in a holographic system, all interfacing with each other, and we've made a communicative agreement that a chair is a chair, a TV is a TV, a lamp is a lamp, just so that we solidify matter. Okay. And part of the agreements is at the beginning and ending of every cycle you change the scene. Okay. And that's why I always tell you home court advantage was negative Rus for the past maybe 2,000 years. And now we are changing scenery. So now as scenery is changing, the props will be brought off the stage. All the old props are being brought off the stage. All the old system is being revealed. So the end, collapsed in order to begin a new cycle. Okay. And because of that, they basically asked everyone to dip out while they try to do their thing. Now, some of this is positive, and obviously some of this is for diabolical reasons. And we know some of the diabolical things because these bastards have put satellites all over the elliptical of planet Tiamat. Okay. We have 40,000 satellites in orbit right now that are here to initiate a force field to try to, deter some of the energy coming in with these comets, and also energies coming up from the center of the galactic planes, where we have the center where that beautiful purple light comes in, which does bring information, it brings energy, and it helps to shift the consciousness of the beings on anywhere that it touches, not only Earth. We aren't the only planet that's shifting and evolving. There are other planets that are in this wave of cycle that go through the shift as well. Okay. For that reason, there's two par that are going on galactically. You have beings that are trying to halt or delay their exit. They liked being on stage. They liked having home court advantage. They liked having advantage over others. They liked to create wars of mass destruction. They liked to create coups with people. They loved, creating disunity and victimization. It benefited them. Hold on. So, of course, they're very disturbed about how their power, they've worked so hard to make sure they killed all the indigenous people and they've colonized every end of the planet. They've gone into Africa, killed and destabilized people, women and children. They've done the same in Central South America, North America. They're just, they're basically just savages, like pirates of consciousness. And wherever they went, they decimated, took what they needed and rewrote history to benefit or to illuminate them and theirs. And they enjoyed those privileges of living that kind of existence, benefiting from years of doing so. Okay, but it's done. Okay, so it's done. So basically, because of that, they know that the cycle was ending. That's why they've set up time to try to delay the takeover or the shifting of power into a more balanced, genre. Okay, and that's why we have all of these orbiting satellites, and we have them instituting forms of low elf wave towers to project more influence. Now, if you want to get an idea of that, go see They Live. They Live is obviously the best testament of what they do to create a way to take over your subconscious and make you, make you do and say and believe things that are being initiated by, sub frequencies that are subliminal frequencies that are being perpetually, you're bombarding your brain. And if you aren't aware of that, then it will have an easier time to incept you. Okay. But for that matter, that's one part of the negativity that's going on. But on a positive level, the others who are part of the matriarchy, part of the positive system, that are working for the betterment of humanity and those coexisting together in unity consciousness, those who are working for that, you're seeing a lot of people and parties and societies that were subjugating children and women to slavery, to sex trafficking, abuses of power, places that were, slaying and murdering animals in the droves. All of these people and institutions are getting consequences now. Many arrests have been made, yes, many arrests have been made and many more will be made. People are being taken out that were complicit in hurting children and animals and women. Many systems that used to take advantage of groups based on, pirating resources are now being called out in the open to be accountable for their dark deeds behind the scenes. So yes, in one hand, you're seeing a collapsing of a system that is seemingly negative. Thank you, Abraham. Redheads, highly targeted, positive, positive. Hold on, redheads equal highly targeted, positive rep RH group. Redheads have a unique quality. Remember, my grandmother's a redhead. Right? I come from my mother's mother is a bright redhead, and I will say that. A lot of the contactees are those who, depending on your blood type, they're usually contracted or sought after or targeted by Willy Wonka's system of surveillance, or they are seeded by some of, I think you guys know about the giants that used to be here, the red-headed giants. I think many of you heard about them. I think it was regarding Attila the Hun. I think he was one of them. Don't quote me on that. I think it was Attila the Hun. But redheads are very, very targeted, and I do agree with you. And it isn't by chance that I'm a contactee, and my grandmother, along the matriarchal line, had like the reddest, most garnet hair, and her sisters had black hair. Okay, so I do agree with you in that matter. And that's going into the tribes, certain particular tribes of giants that coexisted here and are actually still here. As far as my intel, I was still hearing them being, them bombing mountains and caves over in the Middle East, where a lot of these beings were there, and a lot of these particular giants. Some of them are obviously, they eat people, okay? I don't want to get into that because that's a whole nother conversation that, and people, you know, connect them to many different groups, but many of these redheads originally came from like South America, around the region of Brazil, the tip of Brazil. There was a whole experiment on them with the Nazis, Argentina and Peru. And there was a group of them, and it was very interesting because if you see some Peruvians, and remember where my grandmother's from, she's from South America. Many of the Peruvians, it's very odd. Like you'll have very two dark-haired people, and they'll have a redheaded child, and it's an odd anomaly based on the fact that it's so recessive that it's coming out maybe because there was some influence of something else outside of the normality of mating, natural mating. Okay, so that's going into a whole another thing. It's beautiful though, beautiful. Yeah, with the bombing Baghdad, right? Many of you know about the giants, and that's good conversation maybe we should have on the show, talking about the giants, how it interrelates with connection to some of the, you know, they like to call them the Nephilim. You know, but the Nephilim is kind of like a generic name too. Anyway, let's go back into the reptilians. Please put a like on a video if you're up with the shenanigans. Hopefully, if you put a like on a video, this video will stay up. If you're just stepping in, yes, Fleurbrun has bounced. I have left quarantine. Only for a short period of time. I needed a breather. I'm somewhere amazing and beautiful and safe. So, you know, if you're walking in, you're seeing different scenery. It's beautiful where I am. I'm by the water, and, you know, it's a beautiful cottage outside. So I'm enjoying myself, okay? And I was outside of the state originally. I'm actually back. Well, I don't want to give my location anywhere. So the nefarious negative Rhesus is now trying to incept the switch of power over to the positive reptilian groups that will be in home court advantage. Now, people say, well, Fleurbrun, why are you saying the reptilians will be in home court advantage? Have they always been in home court advantage? Remember, family, I don't think many of you know this, and I need you to go and do your own historical work. This is the problem about many people being very lazy, and you only go through Google. Google is, okay, let me state this. Google is an agent program. It will only give you information based on what it wants you to know. If you are relying on Google for your research or any of your information, then you basically are already an agent by the nature of you relying on something that has been incepted and utilized as a form of propagating certain information and having a goal to keep you forever ever asleep. Okay, Google is no way. Remember, Fleurbrun is a certain age. I know I act a little young sometimes, a little flaky, but I used to sit in libraries that used to move around every 2 weeks because you could not get information. I've had some of the most amazing teachers in country, outside of the country. I've had the privilege of sitting in libraries with microfiche, looking for research. I had the privilege of sitting in laboratories with some of the most amazing people and doing our own personal research, unbeknown to where we were contracted, and doing our own research so we could see things for ourselves. I'm really starting to get agitated with those who are always involved in third-party research and then will come on this channel and other people's channel and challenge them based on them getting information from Google or other generic forms of inquiry. It's starting to get a really, I don't know if this generation is a little more lazy, or maybe because social media is so rampant that people think that Google is something special. So Google is an agent. And if you think that the information you get from Google, there isn't anything that I get from Google that's valid. It's generic. And if it's something that's real, then it's something that isn't going to be helpful to us. So instead of I always say you can hear my opinion and what I've gone through, but I always tell you to go and do research. Do your own research. Get what we like to call on hands. See things firsthand. It's very necessary for you to do that. You can't just sit on your bum or be a bookitarian and read from other people's experience. Everything you hear, majority of time, is my personal experience or people I know personally. So you're getting it from me. I'm not reading books and then verbatim telling you things that I read as if they're fact. I can't verify anything until I see it myself, or I know enough people who've experienced it, and then I can say I can vet it out. Okay, I'm just sidebar. I just want to put that out there because a lot of people say, well, they'll go on Google and they didn't see that, or they'll see that the Pelagians look a certain way. That is a lie. The Pelagians look, okay, the Pelagians, for those who are saying that Pelagian contactees is beautiful, and there's many different types, but the Pelagian seeds, those seeded from the Pelagians, look like the Aboriginal and Australia. They look like the Cherokee. So if you don't look like the Aboriginal, which are dark, dark, dark carbon beings with like either straighter hair or curlier, frizzy hair, like fro-like hair, or look like the Cherokee, which are also a dark copper, dark brown look with darker hair, then chances are you aren't seeded directly from, you may be in contact with them. I won't say that because they contact everybody that is from their family. But that is a fact. And you know what's so crazy about that is that they actually have documentation of their seeding. They actually have verbal oratory that's gone generationally from their thing. But if you look online on Google, all you will see is blonde-headed, blue-eyed Pelagians. That is a lie. And that, see what I'm saying? There is propaganda purposefully placed out there to place you on a path that is absolutely mistaken and also meant to mislead you. That is a lie. But but the first thing I saw on all Pelagians when I looked online were blonde-headed, blue eyes. That's not true. That isn't true. The ones who are actually seeded from the Pelagians look like the Aboriginals. And if you don't believe me, go and look at the elders. Their archives are, it's sound. It's sound. All the people, other people who are saying they're part of the Pelagians, they'll tell you they've had imagination, they've channeled the beings. That doesn't make them legitimate because their imagination is vast. You know, people will make up stories and then they'll project it to you and you act like it's real. If someone's channeling a being, there's no way you can confirm that. But people and elders who pass down information of facts, of actually drawings, of actually having connection, they can actually give you more tangible information. So it's no shade to anyone who say they're connected. You can be connected and be any complexion. I didn't say that. But if you're actually genetically seeded from the Pelagians, you will look like the Aboriginals or the Cherokee. That's what I know to be facts, and you can research that yourself. Don't ever rely on me. Go and look into the elders' intel on that. It's amazing. It'll have you fascinated for days. Okay. Oh, someone just asked me a question. I'm sorry. Thank you for my donation, 777. Oh, thank you, Jeannie. Thanks for the truth. Why would I catch a picture of a gray outside your window at night? Much love. I don't want sidetracking. Okay, no, Jeannie. You had a gray outside your window? You have children? I don't want to ask you these questions online, but I would ask you, do you have children in the house? Because that might be, not all grays are negative. Got to be careful with that. Can't demonize all grays either. But seeing grays isn't normally necessarily a good thing either. When grays show up like that, depending on the type of gray, and we could talk some other platform because I don't want to get your personal business, especially when it comes to the babies. You know how I am asking questions because as soon as you said that, I said, is there a child in the house? Why? Is because usually when they're seeding of a particular bloodline, the grays will come and do almost like a check, like a wellness check. They may look inside the house. It's kind of like researchers. So it could be that, Jeannie. I didn't feel negative. It felt like he was observed. Yes. They're like scientists. Like Insectilians, they act like insectoids. They usually do a wellness check. If a certain bloodline is seated in a house, and when you said that, the first thing I thought is there's a child in the house that's special, and it could be them just, basically observing and making, clinical observation of it. Okay, so what's going on? Always side for it. So nice talking to you. Anyway, put a like on the video if you like the video. Oh, you're saying something too. Jeannie, how did I know? And this is the cool thing about being a contactee that actually talks to real contactees, not people online who tell you they're contactees and make up stories to make money. It's a total difference in therapy. There were agents set out in the UFO ET community purposefully to lead people astray because they wouldn't want you to know the real. If you knew that many of you were seeded by extraterrestrials, you would feel more empowered. You wouldn't feel limited. You wouldn't feel fearful. You would be more empowered. Many of you have been seeded by many groups. There aren't many native humanoids on this planet. It's different tiers of colonizing offspring that are here. And also genetically homogenized people, which we don't even talk about very often, which I like to call, GMOs. There's GMO people that are capped consciously. These are like the automatons of Willy Wonka and his League of Doom. they love to use them for, like running agendas. Okay, so, you have a bunch of nefarious insectilians and some, dark reptiles running the planet. What they do is they genetically homogenize people. And people are saying, well, wouldn't people know if they're genetically modified? No. Watch Westworld. You can go to sleep and they can take a piece of your DNA and just start replicating people, and they think that they're real, but they're just capped consciously. They aren't able to contact they have already an atrophied pineal gland. And if your pineal gland is already atrophied or calcified, you haven't any access to the Akashic records. The Akashic records is why we're all honest. Akashic records makes us accountable for what we do on a soul contract level. Okay, we come in with soul contracts that we have to satisfy. If you are a capped, genetically homogenized being, you haven't a contract. You are basically low-jacked by your owners or your makers. Okay, they own you, they run you, and it's easy to, get you to buy toilet paper like a crazy during a pandemic. Okay, those are the type of people that I consider to be, automatons. Genetically homogenized people. All these people like David Icke obsessing about, getting his third eye or his pineal gland decalcified because he's got a calcified pineal gland. Any healthy human being, if you're drug free, if you're, alcohol free, if you're not doing dark things to people, your pineal gland should be nice and active and plump. If you thinking or you have even that in your awareness of your pineal gland being compromised, chances are it's because it's your inner knowing that you aren't connected to source. Not everybody's from source. It's no shade. I always have to say zero shade, but there isn't a lot of people from source. A healthy, robust pineal gland has access to the Akashics. When you have access to your Akashic, that means that you have a soul contract that you're here to satisfy, or several different contracts. It could be one, it could be several. Each individual is very unique, so there isn't any one of you that's the same as the other. And when you have to satisfy your soul contracts, you have accountability. So if you are going around hurting people, killing people, and so on, that gets marked into your book of life, and it's in your soul contract book. It's in their book. Okay, and also whenever you do something, there's accountability for it, soul-wise, karmically. Okay, those who are capped consciously, genetically homogenized, there isn't any contract, and there isn't any connection to source. That's why they can do some nefarious things, and there's no form of accountability, and they haven't any conscious about it. That's why we have a planet with a lot of these genetically capped beings that are killing the trees. They have any connection to the trees. The trees have a genetic link to the native indigenous humanoids that actually lived here. So those of us who are connected to the earth herself, Tiamat, Aquaterra, she has a connection DNA wise to the very people here. We couldn't hurt trees. We couldn't just say, oh, I want my house built this way, and can you cut down all those trees? That's a being that's very detached from earth. She would know that those trees are connected to her ancestors. She wouldn't even have an intrinsic, it wouldn't even be something that they could take in properly. Now, mind you, yes, people are, socially engineered as well. Let's say that. They are socially engineered. So yes, there are people who do things based on social engineering and genetically homogenized food that make them more influenced to do negative things. Yes, but I'm talking about people who were seeded here by Willy Wonka and his League of Doom. They are capped consciously, and they are here to run the agenda. There is no way you can try to convince them any other way. You can't talk to them out of what they do. They're capped consciously. You could tell because they run on a loop. They run on agendas. If they did a flash of low elf waves, they would wear a pink shirt. Everybody would come out. They do beta tests all the time. They'll do a beta test on the news, and then the next day you'll see all these people wearing, pink shirts. And they can test if the beta test worked based on how many people were documented as it being successful. Okay? They do it all the time. That's why the toilet paper, that was a beta test. It was one of the sea stars who mentioned, big up to the sea star who mentioned that. I don't want to be that one who gave that. It was the sea star who mentioned, it was a beta test. How many people would fall victim to subconscious influences, subliminal influences and follow the wave? It makes no sense why there isn't any toilet paper. That was a beta test to see how many people are where it's working. Maybe the satellites worked, so it could be affecting people satellite-wise too. They got 40 different, I was concerned about one satellite called the moon, which was affecting the ebb and flow of females and was affecting our moods. Now we got 40,000 moons with satellites in the sky. How do you think that's going to translate to affecting people's mental status and mental state of being? You know what I mean? So we got to take that in consideration. So yes, we have this agenda working out this war on the backlay of those who are having to pass down their power, rightfully so, because we're entering into a new cycle, who have to kindly let go of all they gained. So all the times they've colonized Africa, India, I don't care, Americas, they colonized the entire planet, they have to let it go. So that's why I say, if you start to see, and I don't want to demonize all celebrities, because not all celebrities are negative or nefarious. I want to say that. I always want to put that out there. But when you start to see people like David Icke and his show getting shut down, but 30 years of him making tons of videos, doing tons of lectures, doing tons of, doing tons of events, and there hadn't been anything that happened to David Icke. And now all of a sudden he's doing it because he's jumped ship. He's trying to preserve the little bit that he's gained because his masters are done. His contract is finished. It is null and void. So now he's looking to be contracted for the other side because the nefarious side can't do it for him. They can't give him reprieve. They can't give a lot of these celebrities the adrenochrome or the things, the benefits that they got. So that's why they're begging for money online. That's why you're seeing them all raising money. Why would you have to raise money if you're all, quote unquote, already wealthy? What is it to raise? Aren't you wealthy already? You should have money. So what are you raising money for? You should have it. So if you're so-called a celebrity, if not all celebrities are wealthy too, let me state that. That isn't true. But I'm just saying, if you're so-called a high-end celebrity, wouldn't you be donating money? Okay? And I know y'all have issues with the version of Beyonce, but she's the only person I know personally, her mother Tina, because I'll just talk about Tina, they're the only ones who donated $5 million out of their own pocket for Texas, where they came from. There's probably others that I didn't hear about. That's the only one I heard about. Tina and her daughter. I don't know if it's the real her or the clone version of her. I don't know which one it is, but it doesn't matter. They donated $5 million to Texas for the cucarachas, T-virus help. And also they just donated $1 million in testing and also masks for people. So I'm just saying, if all these wealthy people and they're begging for money, it tells you that the system, something's wrong. Why are they afraid? Why are they afraid? Now, I didn't say they're good. Listen, I didn't notice when I said Tina and her mom, Tina and her daughter. I didn't say anything about whether they're good or bad. I'm just saying they're one of the only people that I heard so far, and I don't hear much, that donated their own personal money. I'm talking about the other celebrities who are begging for money online and saying they want to collect money for so-and-so. If you're so wealthy, why wouldn't you? They have galas all the time. Anyway, I can't vouch for anyone anymore. I can't vouch for anybody because it's slippery out here. So, so what is going on is the group of negas who is taking over. Rihanna did as well. Oh, of course she would. I don't even consider that. She's a nega. She's a serpent. Yes, she will. She's part of the serpent. And also the other one is as well. She's a serpent. Yes. Rihanna did it? Okay. Rihanna would always do it for her. She could do it. Linda. Hi, Linda. Thank you, my love. Okay, so Brazil 1977 Project Saucer. What do you know? Love you. TV blessings from Alberta. Thank you. 1977 Project. Are you talking about when they did now, I don't know the name of that, but I know a couple things, experiments that came out from the Nazis, that they did the experiments with the twins. Are you talking about that? When they did the twinning experiment, when they did cloning experiments, when you had a whole bunch of redheaded twins and blonde-headed twins in Brazil, when they did the cloning experiment? Is that what you're talking about? because there was tons of UFOs all in. At one point, Rio was a hot spot for UFOs. But remember, when I went to Brazil, there was UFOs were common. It wasn't odd, and there's extraterrestrials there that I didn't even know existed. It wasn't groups that I even knew about. So all these popular groups we talk about, these are not groups I even know. Let me see. Not sure, just heard of it. Oh, well, Linda, find out if just check real quick and see if that's what it is. It could be the Nazi experiment that was going on with them doing the cloning program when they were doing twinning clones, and there was a whole town of like Germanics where the children were like a lot of redheads, a lot of blondes, like very fair skinned people, but they were clones of each other. They were like twin clones, and it was an experiment done. I'm not sure. Maybe that. I hope maybe that's, I want to see if that's what you're talking about. Or is it the one with the females? Because there was one particular man who was also accosted by these cosmonaut females with like colorful hair, like purple and blue hair. You heard about that? And they were having sex with men over there. Boys from Brazil was the whole cloning thing. When they talked about cloning Adolf Hitler in different areas. If you haven't seen Boys in Brazil, it's a wonderful documentary on cloning in Brazil. You got to see it. It's a wonderful show. If you want to get a concept on that, do check that out. But there's a couple things that have happened in Brazil. I don't even know if that's what she was talking about, but I know the cloning program was one. Remember, they had a lot of UFOs. Remember, and I don't even know that those were real UFOs because remember, the Nazis reverse engineered crafts. So what may be crafts in the sky, and you deem them as quote unquote real celestial or intergalactical UFOs could very well be reverse engineered crafts that the Nazis created themselves. They did it. The Nazis have crafts. Before all these stealth bombers and stuff were coming out, the Nazis already had that technology from those futuristic beings who gave it to them. So they've listen, I'm not giving props to them. Yeah, I am. The Nazis, because I'm a researcher, so we respect research. The Nazis were fanatical, and they did the most renowned research regarding cloning, creating beings that were capped consciously. The reason why we have genetically homogenized beings, you should thank you girls okay? Yeah. Okay. Sachet. I don't know. They did the most amazing work regarding that. I'm not giving them props because they did a lot of murders and research based on, having people under tyranny and doing all kinds of things. But they were able to get a lot of eugenics programs underway because of the things that they were doing. Okay, so it's kind of like, because they were working with the nefarious group from the future, they benefited. I'm sorry, my lip gloss is like tragic. The entire town is twins that was done in Brazil, right? That's something we should discuss too. And the Germans are over there now. Many of you okay, Cookie? What's going on? You guys being silly? What's the matter? My little ones are playing. Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Vini. Vini. Hold on, family. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that. The little ones, my cubs are getting wild. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I'm here with the little ones. You know, I have to put I put the peaceful music on for them, but it's not working. I love my little cubs. Anyway, everything's all good in the hood. Yeah. Okay. Hold on, let me put this on. I'm not gonna stay on too long, because I wanna. Okay. Uh, okay. All right. So, family, let me kind of go into the topic because I've sidebarred all over the place, and I want to stay on point. So, all right. So, number one, we found out that there is a delay. Those in the dark, top tiers of the previous cycle people, they're very upset right now. And they're upset because they have to give up all of the things they gained over the last 2,000 years. Remember, we're going into the golden age. Remember, we're entering into 0 point there, and also unity consciousness. That is a more balanced state of being. And because of that, we are going to have to become more balanced in between the dark and light. And because of that, you have those who benefited from being dark and diabolical and savage and pirating of information and keeping things hidden. They aren't happy leaving. So that's why you're getting such a strong man hold of things going on where they're trying to hold on control, trying to buy time so that they can try to hide and dip and jump in jump rooms or go into, stargates or try to hide underground. But it isn't working because everything, they got caught. That's why the movement from country to country was delayed. So people weren't jumping on planes trying to dip out to their underground bunkers. Now, some people would say, well, weren't they trying to restrict people? They've been restricting people. The quarantine, I personally think, wasn't so much for us. It was more so, and this is my opinion, it was more so for those who were doing, what is that? It was more so for those who were doing dark deeds to disallow for them to leave or to get any of their feed. A lot of these beings were on adrenochrome where they were feeding off of children's, oh, hold on. There's like a huge mosquito in here. It's real. Where there was tons of them at home, disallowed from having their feed of blood, sacrifices, feeding off of their dark sexual interfaces, all the things that they do in the dark, they were disallowed from because they were quarantined. So they couldn't dip and go in their private jets and go to their hidden, jungle places to go hide and take their children that they needed for more feedings. So that is true. So what we saw was a restriction for some was much more of a secret operation that was necessary to get out some of the few, well, a lot of the diabolical ones, and make them accountable for the deeds. Okay, so oh my God, I'm getting bitten up. If you ever want to stay in a lake house, oh my God, I should have. You know what I should have done? Ah, hold on, family. They're biting me. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I had to put I had a little bit of more citronella on. This is when I feel like the one thing I forgot to bring. I have a little bit left. Hopefully it'll help. Okay. Oh, so yeah, so we're actually yeah, lavender's good. I have a little bit of citronella left, so I'm kind of using that now, which is kind of working. But see, as soon as I do, because I opened the door, I had the door open, and I should know better, especially until after a certain period of time. Yeah, I got quite a few. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so there's accountability. So on one end, we're seeing the nefarious beings. I keep saying nefarious because I've heard that all the time on for the longest time. So I'm just repeating it a lot. We've seen a lot of them doing like really diabolical things, and we're seeing the repercussions that are coming to them. But on the other leg, they are still working hard to try to keep the control and power. Okay, because we have a comet that's coming in, and with comets come information, come celestial knowledge, come detriment to those, you know, who are holding and standing in positions of power. So they're trying their best to hold on to power, but it is the end of the cycle. It's inevitable. So they're just trying to buy time. And Comet Atlas comes at the end of this month. And someone was talking about the asteroid that, big up to Sid. Sid was the only one who called me at 5 o'clock in the morning because she knew I'd be up. Big up to Sid. I was up 5 o'clock in the morning, remember, when the asteroid was supposed to come in? And what people don't realize about the asteroid, this is just a sidebar. Do you realize that the asteroid did come? No one talked about the earthquake that was in Cuba that was downgraded from 6.6 to 4.6. Did anyone know that Cuba was hit? Now, I don't know if any of you know research or you did the research on this. Cuba and Russia at one time, I think it was 2 years ago or last year, they were both hit with an asteroid at one time. I don't know if, go back, I think it's a year and a half ago. I don't remember the date. I hate when I have the date. It's like a year and a half ago. There was an asteroid that hit Cuba and it hit Russia. Now we got to be careful because what could be an asteroid could be a delivery, or it could be celestials coming in from some sort of other planet. We don't know what an asteroid is because asteroid to them could be something else coming like a package. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a package. Just like in Bahamas. Remember I told you it was a pick-off, drop-off when they were doing that hurricane was slow moving and it devastated Bahamas only because it stood in one place for so long. A lot of times you got to realize they'll create a narrative, a lie of what it is. It's something incoming, but you may, because they don't want you to know that it could be, you know, extraterrestrial in nature or an origin. But it did, something did hit, did hit Cuba. And if you don't believe me, find out why they changed the seismic activity from 6.6 to 4.5 or 4.6. Why would they do that? They rarely ever do that unless they're hiding something. Because remember, Cuba isn't under the good old boys network. Cuba is independent, and Cuba's running with Cuba's running with the Anunnaki, right? The Niburians, the Nega. Okay? They got one of the biggest, most notable African, what's her name? What's her name? Remember she was part of the Black Panthers and they extradited her. They gave her asylum. Oh, what's her name? Oh, I have baby on the blame. Remember they gave her asylum over there? Listen, Cuba is donating doctors all over the place. What's her name? Asada Shakur. Yeah. Asada Shakur has she still has asylum. And then you realize that your president Obama tried to put a bounty on her. Was it him or was it Trump? I think it was Obama. Was it Obama? Asada. Was it Obama who did it? And also I heard Tupac Shakur is over there too. You know, for y'all who think Tupac is done, I heard Tupac Shakur is over in it was Obama, right? Yeah. Tupac Shakur is over in Cuba, if you believe he's still alive. Okay? So Asada still has asylum. And they are working in alignment with the Niburians, the Nega sect. Okay? They aren't being overtaken. They aren't ran by the United Snakes of America. The Western world hasn't anything to do with them. That's why they demonize them so much. But I'm just letting you know that I personally think, now this is something I can't vet out, but I'm just telling you that I personally think that whatever hit, because I think it was a delivery. After, after me and Sid, because Sid was up with me at 5:50 a.m., Sid called me at 5 o'clock a.m. on the day the asteroid, we were supposed to see it at 5:30 in the morning. So I was up in the morning. I didn't go to sleep because I was up looking outside, and Sid was up with me. And right, Sid? Hey, Sid. Sid knows we were up. I didn't even go to sleep. Sid was like, I was like, I didn't go to sleep. Sid got up. We were waiting to see what was in the sky. But it's interesting to me that there was a hit in Cuba and nothing was said. And meanwhile, remember, a week before that, we saw a young lady who placed a app, the app that has the astrology app, the astrological hat app, the astrological app on the sky. It tells you which star systems show up, which celestial fixtures are there, like the Orion belt, Sirius, where everything's set up. Remember, I think I shared it on my community. Remember, she took that and she saw all these missiles trying to hit it. Now, family, let's use our rational sense. We know that if they're trying to stop something, it's because they're scared of it. If they're trying to shoot something out in the sky, it means that they don't want that coming here. And it's not for you and I protection. It's for something that's coming there that's going to bother them. So notice that, I had a cold breeze go behind my back. I'm gonna have to look at the feed later. I had a cold breeze. That's crazy. Was that you? Oh, down, go down. What are you looking for, Cookie? You need? Okay. That was interesting. I had like a cold breeze. What happened? What happened? On my back? Oh, that was you? Oh, you have a cold breeze on your back? Was something wrong? Oh, there's something on her back? There's something on my back? Itchy? Just say it, Bilbo. They can't hear you. The boat? Oh, you blew on my back? A kiss on my back? Hold on, I'm getting charades here. You could say it. Blow. Breathe. On back. Me, yes. In there? Oh, it came from in there? You felt it? Something walked past you too?
No.
Oh, the breeze came from in the room?
Yeah.
Okay. My little ones, they're doing like it because they know during the time when I do a live, I try to keep them as protected as possible. So they'll do little charades. Ghost spirits. It'd be interesting. Then I'll love to do a live underneath the bed. Like, oh, can you see them? Anyway. So we got Asada in, hey, Melanie, High Priestess. Hey, Mama. Yes, that's a butterfly. There's a butterfly right behind me. It's a butterfly up there. Yes, so there was a hit to Cuba, but I personally think, like I said, family, I think it may have been a delivery. Why? Is because the last time it happened, remember, Cuba and Russia worked together. Remember, they work together. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're fine. Cuba and Russia work together, and it's interesting to me that the last time I heard a so-called asteroid hit was when it hit them at the same time or within the same day or two. Now all of a sudden it hit, and then all of a sudden they downgraded from a 6.6 to a 4 point something. What? Why? Why? What are you trying to hide? And what were you trying to shoot out of the sky? What were you trying to shoot out of the sky? Because if you're shooting it out of the sky, you thought something was going to happen that was going to impede on you. It was probably a delivery. Okay? Cuba got its celestial delivery. Maybe it was, maybe it was a remedy for the cucarachis. Yeah, just don't eat all of them, okay? It was a remedy for the cucarachis. Okay, it could be. I'm making all these, I'm just bringing things up that I think could be relative, just seeing things go down. Could be the case. Okay. So now we have that happened. Now we have a war going on behind the scenes. Those who don't want to give up their power to those whose power has to be relieved to them so that they can start establishing new tiers of hierarchy. Okay, remember we're going into unity consciousness. It is a matriarchal cycle. That is why children and women who have been abused or have been misused, it's all coming out because they were being abused, they were being raped, killed, murdered, subjugated, all that good stuff, because now they're in home court advantage. Okay, so everything has to come out. Everything you've done to children, everything you've done to women, everything dark you've been creating for those who are in that, in that beautiful zone, that all that came out. So now we have a new cycle. So they're going to create all kind of delays to try to be able to hold on to the power, but they're going to lose. Okay? Hey, Kookabuka, you okay? Okay. You okay? We'll watch something a little later. The mosquitoes are in here. I put a little bit. I had a little citronella left, and I put a little on because they came in with me. I shouldn't. I know we shouldn't open the door past. I should have known that from yesterday. Okay. There's 4 retrogrades. I think we're in 4 retrogrades right now. What are the retrogrades? We have Venus. What's in retrograde? Pluto's in. What is it? Jupiter's in retrograde. Is Venus in retrograde? I think Venus might be in retrograde. We got 4 retrogrades, right? Venus is in retrograde. Use some lemon pills. Oh, you know what? I don't have lemons, but I have some oranges. What else is in retrograde? Saturn is in retrograde. Okay, wait. Thanks, Venus, Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn are in retrograde. So a lot of things are going to, full moon. Wait, full moon is, Share approves. Thank you. Full moon is already on Thursday? That's in Scorpio. Uh-oh. And Mercury? Okay, so family, we got 5 different planets in retrograde. And we have a full moon in Scorpio. I'm glad. Listen, y'all better put your seatbelts on. Because a full moon in Scorpio, you know how Scorpios are. Big into all the Scorpionics in the house. Where are my Scorpionics? Y'all are secretive and lethal. Let me just say this. You think a full moon in Scorpio, things will be revealed. All this inner turmoil will come to a surface ahead. It's going to be really interesting. So we got, and it's a super full moon. Oh, Lord. I'm going to just put my listen, you should put your seatbelt on. You're Scorpios. Listen, I'm going to put my seatbelt on. I'm going to put a helmet on. I should put like a face mask on. I'm going to put it all on. Because full moon in Scorpio is going to be like 3 days of revolution. Listen, if anybody's been doing dirt to you, it's going to come out. If any of you are cheating on your husband and wives, you're about to hear about it. They're gonna find out. You better get rid of your side chicks and side dudes right now, because Scorpio brings revelation. Okay, I'm just letting you know. I'm trying to help you out. I see. All right, there you go. I'm trying to. That's one of the times. There's Scorpio rising. I'm just saying. But put your head wraps on. You better do kumbaya. Okay, leave it. I'll take it down. You better sing the hymns. I hope you all know hymns. If you weren't a Christian, you might want to get a cross. I'm joking. They're already lost. No, the cycle has already changed. We're already changing into home court advantage. So just realize that there is a war going on between those who held power for the last 2,000 years and those who are going in home court advantage that will regain their power, their sovereignty. That's all it is. So right now at this point, make sure you aren't pulling into other people's narratives. That's all I'm saying. Try to keep away from pulling into. If you notice, listen, I have calming music. I'm over by the waterways. The Insectoids have finally left me alone. The Insectoids have left me alone. I found a little bit of, I found a little bit of citronella. So I'm just saying, this is a time you need to, if you are hiding anything, I'm just like, let it out the closet. I would just open up the closet. The bones might pop out. If the bones pop, listen, someone said, my mate, big up to my mate. I was with my mate. had such a good time. But he was saying to a friend of ours, because when I was away in another direction, he was saying to a friend of ours, he was like, you know, what's so interesting? He said he had always wanted a woman who was very honest. And he said he got one. And he was like, he didn't realize what he was asking. Listen, I've learned from a very young age of being very quirky and very weird that hiding who I am is only more painful, and it isn't, and it always comes out of the closet eventually. So I always keep my closet aired out, and I know that sometimes it can be really raw and it can look really, really odd, but I prefer you know who I am than you meet me up and be like, oh, I didn't know you were a weirdo who believed in UFOs. Oh, I didn't know you believed in, using only glass pots. Oh, I didn't know that you like to grow hair on your legs during times when you think there's a lot of radiation. I didn't know that you encourage women not to wear bras and be bare-breasted, but you know what I'm saying? I prefer these things. So when you meet me, you basically say, oh, that's just Fleurbrun. That's how my mate and my friends look at me. They're like, oh, that's just, if people don't know me, they'll be like, that's just her. She doesn't mean any harm. See, they just give that PSA when I meet people. I'll be like, that's just, she's beautiful, she's wonderful. She just may show up a little weird and a little strange. She may talk about some odd thing. That's just her. She isn't gonna change. Okay. So I just suggest during this full moon in Scorpio, you let it out, and you're gonna start to see the unraveling of the negative roost. Now, negative roost, let me go into you. Negative roost, you are having a lot of reveals. So I'm talking negative roost. I'm a positive roost. Big up to all the OGs in the house. But let me say this. I burn wedding dresses with all my friends online, and we laugh about and we cry about it. If they don't know, now they know. You know what I'm saying? They'll look at one of my videos and be like, she's burning her wedding dress. It's beautiful. Yes, I burn wedding dresses that have absolutely darkness connected to something that was part of my past that I wanted to relieve. And my life is so much better for it. It was awesome. I really felt free from that. Hopefully that would be the last wedding dress I burn. My next wedding dress I'll keep for my daughters, okay? Let me talk to my OGs first, my O negatives. Aw, thank you, Carlin. Thank you, my love. Aw, 999. Thank you, Carlin. I appreciate it. Mwah. But let me say this. O negatives, you're having a lot of reveals and there's a lot of purging. My O negative homies, because remember I hang out with OGs, and O negatives I know just as much as I know my O positives. O negatives, you're having a lot of purging. So do know right now that there are going to be a lot of revelations, and your body all my O negative friends are having body releases. I think it's something releasing from the past, maybe karma from a lineage, I don't know, or just things that need to be released. O negative, you're getting releases. Listen to the music. It's right on point. So if you've been feeling a little weird and you're feeling like you're getting purging or like blistering or things that are like purging feelings, or you feel like your body's going through a shift, O negatives, I know you're going through it. So just allow it to happen. Try not to judge the process, okay? Because I know a lot of O negatives are negatives that were going through it, especially O negatives. So just let the process go. It's a release. I know it's a release. It isn't anything, I personally don't think it's anything negative. I think it's a release. And for all of the negative ruses like B negative, AB negative, I think the AB negatives, you might have gone through this process last year. I've noticed, and I can't vouch it totally because I'm only going on maybe 6 ABs that I know, but AB negatives, y'all went through the purge last year or the year before. So you can verify that for me, because from what I know, the AB negatives, only the AB negatives, or maybe the Bs also, y'all went through a purge last year. I just remember a lot of ABs coming to me and saying they were going through like a weird kind of release, like a release from past karma, a release from past pains, or things where you were feeling like there were bindings to you family-wise that were keeping you bound to old systems of thinking. It may be Bs too. It might be A, Bs, and ABs. It might be that. I just know a lot of ABs who it happened to. I think you all went through it last year. The O's, I'm just seeing it now. Remember, OGs are a little different. Okay, OGs are a little different. But I think you guys totally got your purge last year. The O negatives, y'all are getting it now. Y'all are getting it now. So just let that process go through the process. Don't judge yourself. Let yourself, if you need to lie down for Girls, girls, stop, please. Thank you. Let yourself go through the process. And if you have to rest, rest. If you have to say no, thank you, you can't do something extra for others, it's okay for you to do that. I need you to do this because I notice a lot of you, I need you to take a lot more care of yourself because we're changing a cycle too into another, um, into another group. So because of that, there's going to be a release of a lot of things that may be hampering you. And I need you to give yourself permission to just heal and purge. Okay? So all my own negatives, chill out. Tell people you can't cook for them. Like if you're feeling like taxed and tired, tell them that, listen, we'll just do salads for the rest of the week and we'll just do like some smoothies. Okay? I need you to really take care of yourself. Now, O positives, you're feeling the the revolution upon you. A lot of O positives are feeling this antsy feeling like they gotta move, they gotta get moving. They have to. I'm noticing a lot of the O positives are getting brainstorming a lot of new businesses, a lot of new ideas. They're feeling really antsy. So for my OGs that are positive, you're getting antsy because you're going into your home court advantage. A lot of these ideas are coming into your head. You're getting a lot of opportunities that will now come about because remember, we're reestablishing a new cycle. Okay. And because you're in home court advantage now, you will have, remember, just like we go to stadium with home court advantage, you got all the banners with your names on it. You got all these referees that are, making calls on your behalf. You have fans all in your entire arena cheering you on, saying, yes, you've got it. Come on. You were the underdogs. Let's get it going. You've got all that now. So positive, all the positive ruses as well. Remember all the positive ruses. Now again, just like I said for the ABs and A's and B's from last year, you probably went through this purge. For all the A, B's and A, B's and B's, A, B's and B's, you probably went through maybe this process of regeneration last year. If I kind of go on like an inverted, like almost match to match, you probably were getting that kind of revolution last year. So I wouldn't be surprised to hear that ABs last year were brainstorming new ideas for businesses, or A's and B's were feeling like a new time, a new surge of inspiration. Okay. I know a lot of, come on now. My stuff only works for a certain period of time. So allow this process to happen and allow it to happen easily, okay? And also be good to those who are around you. Treat people as you would have them treat yourself, okay? And for all my reptilians who are being demonized by David Icke and his League of Doom, you aren't under their tyranny or under their wave of depreciation any longer, okay? Look at this. Biting me on my shoulder. Okay, you aren't you aren't any longer subjugated to. Oh, oh my God, Carlin, you're O positive. Thank you, my love. Thank you. Carlin's an OG too. Big up to Carlin. He's an OG. He's an O positive too. Big up to all the OGs in the house. So, what was I saying? Reptiles. Big up to all the reptilians in the house. A lot of people get really upset when I talk about reptilians in a positive way. This is crazy. Why does it bother you if I talk about reptilians positively? Why? Because other people have talked so negative about them. But just like the news, CNN, the ABC, NBC, they've always promoted something. Why do you think that in the UFO and ET community, reptilians have all been demonized? You don't think that's part of the propaganda or an agenda? See, this is what I'm saying. You'll think there's agenda on one side, but you don't think in the UFO, the UFO community, they don't do it either? Yes, because the UFO community was set up with agents of mass destruction. You have agent provocateurs that were only set up in this community to create a wave of paranoia, of disinformation, of steering people in one direction so that you would always have this narrative and negativity when it was regarding reptilians. And there are a plethora of reptilians, just like there's a plethora of humanoids, bipedal humanoids. I wouldn't say to you that a person in Ireland is just like a person in Germany. They may even have the same complexion, but very different principles, different morals, different cultures, different narrative and how they present themselves. So why wouldn't you think that in a broad spectrum of our galactic plane, that we have a massive amount of different extraterrestrials, some that you've never even heard of, nor will we ever until this fog of the veil is kind of lifted, that there wouldn't be those reptilians that are in service to self, to service to others as opposed to service to self. That narrative was only spun to you based on a small conglomerate of people that are agents that were set up in the community to create misnomers. So during this time of the shift, many of you wouldn't even want to go into home court advantage because look at that mosquito. You see him? I'm gonna have to spray cake this place. Is there anything when you live by the water? My gosh, especially in warm areas, the mosquitoes are like monsters. Darn Insectilians. Anyway, family. So I'm not going to keep you long. I want to go and enjoy. So I'm going to come back to you. I'll probably come a little earlier tomorrow when the little ones. I'll come in early in the morning, out to talk to you about. Yes, reptiles eat insects. That is true. That is true. Thank you, my lady high priestess. And if you ever went to Disney, it's called A Bug's Life. And at the end, you see a lizard eat the bug at the end. So it's interesting you said that. Okay. I will come back to you later. I don't want to stay on too long. I might come on Instagram later if I'm bored, when the little ones go to sleep. I don't think I'm going to sleep early tonight. So maybe I'll go on Instagram and kind of chat it up a little bit. But I hope it's kind of staying on topic. It was hard to stay on topic because whenever I'm away, I get excited and I haven't talked to you guys for a while. So I go a little off. So make sure you put a like on the video, just as a common courtesy. If you enjoy coming and listening to the topics, and again, you don't have to agree with everything. That's one thing I wouldn't ever require of you. But if you come, please put a like on a video. It does allow for the videos to stay up. And again, my channel is probably one of the most incepted channels for whatever reason. It's not like I don't even talk about 90% of the things that I could say if I knew. Notice I said if I knew. So, I think, it's helpful. So if you put a like on a video, just as you're exiting the door, hey, all things Reiki. Yes, I'll probably come on a little later. I'll put my jammies on and come later after I get rid of some of these insectilians that are biting the bejesus out of me. Oh, God. I'm going to have bite marks on me forever. Anyway, so you see him? Whoop, there he goes. Whew, good Lord. All on camera. She was attacking an insectilian. Oh, my God. Anyway. So I'm going to go. I'll probably come on a little later on IG so we can kind of chat it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of chill out with my little ones. We'll watch a movie. And if I'm up later, come join me on IG. All right, family, take care. I hope this conversation is okay. And if you're a reptile and you're feeling subjugated and you're feeling like you've been left out, let me just say it's a new day in this world. And remember, the original beings on this planet were subterranean reptilians. They've been here the longest. So for anyone to say anything negative about reptilians, they shouldn't even like the earth, because the earth was originally with all reptilians. It's kind of disgusting and so backwards to say anything about negative about reptilians on an earth plane, a planet that was originally inhabited by only reptilians. Okay, so it's interesting that people have such a negative feeling about beings. It's their home. It's like going to Africa and hating all the brown people in Africa. You like Africa, you like the greenery, you love giraffes and lions, but you don't like the African people. There's some really backward type of thinking when you love a planet, but you don't like the beings that naturally came from it. They're all reptiles. So if you have a problem with reptiles and reptilians, it's going to be real uncomfortable on this planet, because the shape-shifting, remember the pork industry has ended. All these reptilians or these Dracos in the Midwest, they're going to start shape-shifting. Not shape-shifting, they're just going to start looking like reptiles. I don't know what y'all are going to do when people start looking like dinosaurs or crocodilians walking around in Midtown. You better get used to reptiles, because if you aren't, you're going to have a real uncomfortable next couple of years. And then post pole shift, when you see what's coming out of the skies and what's coming from inside of your own earth, you may not want to be here anymore. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to scare you, but I'm just trying to let you know that this was never your planet. And if you're not reptilian, then you probably were one of the inceptors that colonized this planet, and you don't have any stake or any right to judge them. This is their planet, and if they want to be themselves and walk out uncloaked, I think they have a right to do so without being judged and without being, vilified by agents from Willy Wonka that are dark and nefarious. All right. So I'm gone, family. I love you. Be well. Enjoy. Have a masterful evening, and we shall reconvene probably later on, and maybe in the morning. I'll probably make a video in the morning because it's beautiful outside, and I'll try to do it. I don't think I could do it by the water, but I'll try to do a video by the water for you. Okay. All right, family. I love you. Have a wonderful time. Peace. If I can end it, I can never end my video.